Prager's been on one recently.
Here is Dennis Prager, the moral authority of America. What does he call himself? I don't know what he calls. Here is Dennis Prager taking a phone call. And I think to the extent that we saw any movement by Republicans, and there were 6 of them who are not retiring out of that 10. Now, again, this is just a deal that could very well fall apart. Let's also be clear about that. But the Democrats managed to get the worst of all worlds. The deal falls apart. The Democrats will be blamed. Somehow they will be the encumbrance to gun reform because they played this so poorly. But here is Dennis Prager. There is real pressure out there, and here's Prager.
I heard your talk on gun control.
Pause it for 1 second. To be clear, this is a caller into the Dennis Prager show.
2 questions. Do you have the guts to go down to the people in Texas whose kids were killed, the kids in the high school in Florida, and the ones that saying, and tell them to their faces that their request for gun control on certain things and everything else is wrong and that they're leftist? Have you got the guts to tell them to their faces that what they're feeling is wrong and you're right?
Of course, I would be honored to speak to them and tell them they're wrong. Honored. It would be one of the highlights of my life to talk to these grieving people and tell them that their reactions, though completely understandable, will do nothing to prevent other kids and other parents from the same suffering. It would be my honor to speak to them. Florida and Texas. That is correct.
Well, why don't you do that, Dennis? Why don't you go
Because they're
down
not going to
there?
come to my talk, okay? Let's live in reality. I hereby announce to everyone listening in Florida and Texas, it would be my honor. I would humbly go before grieving parents and tell them that the issue in America is values, not guns.
Would you call them lefties?
No. I would call the idea, if they asked me, do you think that the concentration on guns rather than evil is a left-wing idea? I would say that has been the left's view since Vladimir Lenin.
This is why, one, I like the caller, right? Trying to take it to him. But at the same time, we were speaking about this a bit last week. Morally shaming these people into changing their position on this is not effective because Steve Scalise got shot and he still has the same position that he had before on gun control. Someone wrote in and said, I can't understand why conservatives ask them if this happened to their kids, if they would change their opinion. They wouldn't. They wouldn't. I mean, maybe a regular conservative in New York, in Alabama, wherever, might do so. But Republicans feel beholden to the gun fetishization that is like inherent to their party right now. And they're just going to say doors or, more guns. They're beyond moral shaming in many areas, but particularly here.
And let's be clear, this is a fundamentalist response. They need to focus on evil, not on guns. What is the policy in which you deal with evil? Like, what is the policy? What is the governmental response or the non-governmental response to evil? Do we pray for angels to come down and protect people?
More mass incarceration.
This is the merger of the Republican ideology and conservatism with Christian and Judeo-Christian, as Prager would say. We got to get the few of us in there. Fundamentalist religion it's been an ongoing project, let's be clear, for 50 years. But it is more or less complete now, where, this is the same talk of, George W. Bush. He introduced this thing. It is evil. We need to fight evil, not the mechanism, whatever that means, not the mechanism that exists in the real world as to how they do this. We need to fight evil. An idea, a cartoon, we need to fight.
What was he trying to say about Lenin at the end there?
Lenin also was just about ignored evil for the sake of guns. It's like a 3-year-old. Split the spliff. Scaredy Sam. You call everyone else out for not debating you. Oh, hold on, that's just moved. For not debating you, but you won't debate me. Because like the Three Stooges, Dave, Steve, and Jim, you will get owned, ruined, and will want to take your ball and go home. Next time, read my whole I am and not take it out of context. But then again, how would you feel good about yourself? Sincerely, Brainless.
That's a good question.
I don't know how to respond to that. You just referred to yourself as Brainless.
Is that a parody of IMs that we get?
I don't know. Feel free to call in. And I mean, I can't tell if you're being real. But
Sounds like an AI.
But feel free to call in and put up your area code, and we'll take you first.